Typeform for Growth, Take 1. Hey, I'm Susie from Typeform. Our team is excited to announce Typeform for Growth, a suite of new capabilities designed to help you capture, qualify, and convert more leads. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how these new features work and how they can help you grow your business. So let's get to it. In this scenario, we're a company called Glow & Co. We're a cosmetics distribution software that helps cruelty-free and sustainable cosmetics manufacturers, distributors, and wholesalers get their products to market faster and increase their supply chain efficiency. So here we're a B2B company that wants to expand our market outside of the US, and our lead gen form is designed to get more qualified international leads for our business. So let's get to it. As always, you can see that I have a beautifully branded form. I have my logo here, my brand colors, and official brand images. I've added these using BrandKit, which lets me add images, logos, and color palettes to my Typeform account that can be shared across my entire Typeform organization. So if I need someone else in my organization to make a form, I can be sure that it'll be on brand. Now, one of the first things I want to highlight, which you can see here, is the ability to add custom videos to your forms. This lets you engage with your respondents by introducing yourself, asking a question in video format instead of just text. You can see the toggle to change your question from text to video format here. So when you're adding a video to your question, you have the option to record yourself on the spot or to upload a video. If you choose to record on the spot, all you have to do is hit the big red record button, wait for the countdown, and you're recording. And if you mess up the take, like I did here, you can always do it again, as many times as you need to until it's perfect. Or you can upload a pre-recorded video if you don't want to record on the spot. And pretty soon you'll be able to edit these videos directly in Typeform, as well as have video answers and automated closed captioning. So stay tuned for that. Let's play this video so you can see what it looks like. Hey there, sustainable beauty enthusiasts. Welcome to Glow & Co. We are passionate about helping cruelty-free and sustainable brands thrive by streamlining their supply chain and getting their products to market faster. To get started, we'd love to learn a bit more about you and your business in this quick survey. Thank you for being a part of the sustainable beauty movement, and we look forward to connecting with you. So here you can see that we're already adding a face to our brand and are making it more personal. This also lets us build trust quickly and set the scene so that our audience knows exactly what to expect. And as you can see, this question asks for an email address, which leads me to our next key feature, automated data enrichment. This basically lets you add one question and get a ton of extra data from that. On the side here, you can see a toggle for this feature, which will give us extra information once respondents provide us with their business email address. So we don't even have to ask for a name or which company the respondent works for. With this feature toggled on, we'll get that information automatically pulled into our results once respondents provide their email address and submit the form. That way, we can focus on asking some of the more hard-hitting questions directly and leave the basics to enrichment to avoid losing respondents early. So let's check that out in results. Here you can see some of that enriched data. We can see where the company is based, what it does, how many employees it has, which industry it belongs to, how much it makes in revenue, and even the job title of the person filling in the form. These are all things that we'll use later to score our leads, but for now, you can really see how much information we're able to collect here by simply asking for an email address. Back in the form, you can also see the partial submit point that we've added here. We know attention spans are shrinking, so this feature lets you set a point within the form where it automatically gets submitted, even if respondents don't reach the end and hit the submit button. So any question before the partial submit point, which in this case is only the email question, will automatically get submitted after it's been answered. Respondents can continue through the form as usual and won't notice anything different, but if they don't get any further than this first question, we'll still have their email address. So it really lets you capture the most important information in case respondents drop off. This will be an essential feature if we really want to nurture those leads that didn't complete the form. Now, let's move on to our form settings. Here we have campaign tracking, which is super important to figure out where your best leads are coming from or what type of ROI you're getting from your campaigns. You can turn on any of these UTM parameters here, and these will be added to the end of your form's URL to make sure you're tracking your campaigns properly. Another feature in settings that I want to highlight as part of this new package is spam protection. Under General, you can see at the bottom the option to toggle reCAPTCHA protection on. This adds an extra layer of security to our form to ensure that we're only getting genuine first-party data and avoiding bots or spam responses. So you can see here when reCAPTCHA identifies a suspicious response, respondents will need to pass a visual challenge to ensure that their response is legitimate. Now let's talk a bit about lead scoring. This is something that many B2B businesses do to help evaluate and prioritize leads based on their likelihood of becoming a customer. It involves assigning a score to each lead based on various factors such as business characteristics and actions. Lead scores can include positive or negative values, with higher scores indicating greater likelihood of conversion. As I mentioned earlier, we're trying to grow our business outside of the US, and we want to focus on manufacturers of cruelty-free and sustainable products since we have identified these categories as high growth. We've added a couple of questions here to help identify those key factors for us, as well as a few questions asking about distribution and the regions where their products are carried in brick-and-mortar shops. These will be really important to help us score and segment our leads. And I want to just point out one thing here before we move on. When you're coming up with these questions, if you're having trouble with the wording or aren't sure about which answer options to use, you can leverage our smart content optimization features. So if your question is over 10 words, you'll see this little icon pop up that'll give you suggestions on how you can reword the question. The better the question, the more valuable the answer. So this is a really powerful tool that can help find the right way to ask something. You can do the same with your answer options and get suggestions for more options if you want to build out your questions a bit more. Okay, now on to scoring and segmentation. This will let us assign a score to our leads and bucket them into high quality, so those most likely to convert, and low quality, those less likely to convert or who don't match the criteria for our ideal customer. So when we go into Logic, under Branching and Calculations, we can see that we've already set up some lead scores on these questions. And just to note, these point values that we assign here are totally customizable, so you can develop your own scoring system based on your needs. There's also an option available on form creation to use AI to help you come up with these lead scores, which is great if you want to get something set up quickly. Okay, so our ideal customers are cosmetics manufacturers shipping to Europe or Asia, focused on cruelty-free or sustainable cosmetics, and are carried in over 20 retail locations. We're looking to grow our business, and landing customers who are also looking to expand plays a big part in our success. So here we're assigning 3 points to manufacturers selling cruelty-free cosmetics, as well as 3 points for those who sell sustainable packaging. And then in the next question, since Europe and Asia are our target markets, we'll assign 5 points each to manufacturers shipping to either of these regions. Now, if you scroll down to question 4, you can see that we've added 5 points to the score if their products are in brick-and-mortar locations, since these are the leads that we're after. Then we've used Logic here to send respondents who said that their products are distributed to brick-and-mortar locations to a question asking which region those physical locations are in. This is a way to keep your respondents engaged by only asking them questions that are relevant to them. And then if we scroll all the way to the bottom, we've also added some scoring based on the enrichment data that we're getting. Here we're adding scores to job function. Leads with operations or supply chain job functions have the most influence over our deals, so we'll add points here, as well as adding points for companies with a revenue over 5 million. So adding these scores will really help us prioritize and focus on our most promising leads. Next, we want to segment these leads. So at the end here, once their score is tallied, we'll say that if their score is 15 or over, we'll add them to our segment for high quality leads. And if their score is less than 15, we'll add them to our segment for low quality leads. This will let us bucket our most promising leads together so that we can reach out to them as soon as possible. And to be able to do that quickly, we can use one of our most popular automation features, follow-ups. Follow-ups help you stay on top of your responses and get notified when hot leads are coming in. Back in our form, under Settings, we can see here the option to add follow-ups. This lets you automatically send follow-up emails to respondents or send follow-up notifications to yourself or your team. Here we've chosen to send a follow-up directly to our sales team on Slack. And we've set conditions so that leads in our high-quality segment are being sent to Slack. We want to make sure that we're notified and responding to these leads as quickly as possible. And by sending these notifications to Slack, we can ensure that we're getting this info as soon as it comes in. And we can decide which answers we want to include in the response, including some of the enriched data. So once a qualified lead fills in our form, we'll see a notification in our sales channel here with their responses that we've chosen to highlight. We can also set up a follow-up email to send to leads in our high-quality segment to keep them warm by letting them know that we'll be in touch shortly. So the trigger here is anyone in the high-quality segment. Now, to close the loop on our workflow, we're going to set up an integration with our CRM to make sure that all of our lead and customer data is in the same place. Here we've integrated with HubSpot, our CRM. So if I click Edit here, you can see that we've added all of the key enrichment data that we've collected to send that on over directly to HubSpot. You can even enable source tracking here so that the campaign tracking info we added earlier is also sent to HubSpot. Typeform integrates with all major CRM and marketing automation systems, so whichever tool you're using, you can ensure a smooth flow of information across platforms and avoid data silos. Finally, as our results start coming in, we'll be able to leverage our Smart Insights feature, which is AI-generated data insights. So it'll generate correlations for you and give you both qualitative and quantitative information on trends in your data. This will save you a ton of time having to sift through your data and will really pull out those key findings for you. So we can see that Europe is the primary market for cruelty-free cosmetics, and that brick and mortar locations have the highest distribution with 50 plus retailers. And below each graph, you can also see some insights on the data.
So as you can see, B2B marketing doesn't need to be boring, expensive, or require a massive software budget. By combining the power of video engagement, data enrichment, AI, and marketing automation in one easy-to-use platform, Typeform is empowering teams of all sizes and skill levels with the tools they need to grow their business. If you'd like to learn more or just chat with a member of our team, head on over to the Typeform Community.